Hello and welcome to another episode of Primetime, my interview series where it's always my endeavor to have an insightful conversation with an inspiring youngster. And the person I have today on my show, I got to know quite by chance because I happened to order some food from her, and all of us at home absolutely loved it. And that's when we discovered that Namha is an aspiring chef. She's extremely passionate about food and about cooking. And that's what she plans to turn into her profession and do for the rest of her life. I found her story very inspiring and I asked her to join me here for a conversation. So without further delay, let's welcome Namha to the show. Welcome, Namha.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very well. How about you?
Very well, very well.
Okay, Nama. So, for our viewers and especially for our younger viewers, we'll get to the food in detail, of course. But why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself, your younger days, growing up days, and so on.
Right. So I'm Namha, and I just finished. I'm still finishing my undergrad from IHM Aurangabad. It's affiliated with Taj Group of Hotels, and I was supposed to be in Spain, and I was supposed to be interning with Tickets, which is one of the 22nd best restaurant in the world. But because of COVID, I couldn't get to go. So for a period of around 7 months, I decided to start my home business. So primarily, it was for me to just get to cook every day for everyone because of the junk food that I was making at home. My parents were a little sick of it. So one of my chefs from college, he told me that if you are good at something, don't ever do it for free. So that's when I decided to start my business from home, and I did it for around 7 months. And I started with an Asian menu, which is not my forte though, but I realized that the crowd here, they prefer more of Asian, though I like to do a lot of Italian and French cooking, and that's what I want to pursue after college. And my childhood, so my dad's in merchant navy and my mom's a fashion designer, so we got to travel a lot when I was a kid. And my family is like a huge foodie family, so we used to eat out a lot, we still do, and we just all really love food. So that's how I kind of grew up, and that's how I think we all bonded a lot. So I think food is very important for me in that aspect.
That's wonderful. Now, I want to take you back a little further, Namha, because I want to understand a little more deeply when you realized that this was it, food was going to be your sort of main passion. When did that realization dawn on you, and what caused it?
Right. So in around when I was in the ninth grade, I wanted to become a radiologist, and I
Mhm.
wanted to become a doctor. Although every time I would come back from school and my tuition, I would like to be in the kitchen and I would make something for myself. And after like a few months, when I realized I liked doing this, but I never knew that this would be like my passion. I did it as a hobby. And like in the 10th grade is when every time I would get stressed because of studies or anything else, I would just always be in the kitchen. And that's when I realized that this is something I like to do more than anything else in the world. So that's when I was like, this is what I have to do.
Okay. And tell me, did you have some kind of difficulty in, because, you may not have, but a lot of students, a lot of children have difficulty in convincing their families and convincing their parents as soon as they choose a so called alternative career.
Right.
Did you face any opposition or difficulty in trying to convince your parents that this is what you wanted to do and this was your calling?
Fortunately, I didn't. My parents were very supportive. So when I told them that, okay, this is what I want to do, I want to become a chef, they were pretty happy about it because they always knew that I was a creative kid. Like I loved studying, but then more than that, I was a very creative kid. So they were very happy that I was going to do something in this field because they know that there is a lot of scope here, especially outside India. When people see chefs, they see them as like it's a big thing. So it was not very hard to convince them.
I'm sorry to get back to this point again like a stuck record, but living in Jaipur,
Hmm.
I know that there isn't, of course, not to deride the local food, which is yummy, but apart from local cuisine, there isn't really still till today much by way of, international cuisine of a certain standard that's available in the city. So, how did you satisfy your own food cravings? Was it primarily when you were traveling, and how do you do it when you're stuck in Jaipur?
So that's actually a thing. The thing is, here people have a very they have a very strong palate because of the Rajasthani cuisine, and I've noticed that people in Jaipur, it takes a lot of time for them to like want to try something new. That happens with me as well. Like every time I serve a new set of clients, they always have like, okay, this is like too exotic for us. This is too much for us. I do get a lot of those feedbacks. I still do. But every time I have cravings, I just cook. I just cook because you don't get a lot of stuff here. And otherwise, when I'm going back to college, is when I stop in Bombay or Delhi, is when I just go crazy and I just eat everything that I can before work starts.
Tell us a little bit about your experience interning at the Rambagh.
I think that experience was honestly one of the best experiences I've had. It's everyone knows Rambagh for its ambience and the elegance, and it's known for its like it's the best, and it really is in the fact that I got to work behind stage and I was in the kitchen and I was there in the process of making what Rambagh is today was honestly one of the best experiences, and I got to learn a lot. And the thing is, in Rambagh, you get a lot of clients that come from outside, a lot of
Sure.
foreign clients. And I've worked in Rambagh before as well. 2 years back, I did like a 1 month internship because I
Okay.
don't like to sit idle at home. So I thought I'll
Right.
work somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of these foreign guests come, and that's when I learned a lot of new things and a lot of stuff that people in Jaipur don't eat. So it was one
Um,
of the best
so,
experiences.
so what specifically do they ask you to do, or do they get you to do as an intern while you're there? Because
That's
the perception of an internship to a layperson like such as myself is that you're probably just cleaning dishes.
So we don't clean dishes though, but it's a lot of labor. It's a lot of labor. So you have to be there at 6 a.m. in the morning. It's a 15-hour shift every single day without fail. You're
Wow.
sick, you're not feeling well, doesn't matter. You have to work. There are guests who come. And you have to start. You can't waste time. There's no time to waste. You have to sit, you have to chop for like 3 hours, you have to clean vegetables for 2 hours, you have to clean the meat, you have to do the preparation, the deep cleaning of the kitchen. The cleaning is hygiene is something that I've learned. It's prime. It comes before anything else. Food safety comes before anything else. So it's like from scratch, but you just have to do everything. You can't say no. But like in the kitchen, the environment's very different from other professions. Like it's loud, it's fighting, and it's one of the best environments that I've been in.
Right. So obviously, you have to be a certain breed of person to revel and relish that kind of high pressure environment. Otherwise, you won't be able to take it. Most sort of famous chefs one comes across on the television are tattooed and they're smokers, and they have their different mechanisms to cope with that high pressure situation, I suppose. Is that something that you're mentally prepared for going forward?
I oddly like pressure. When people put pressure on me is when I love it. Like it makes me want to do my best. Like it drives me a lot. And the kitchen has a lot of pressure, really does. So every time if I'm angry, because everyone is always arguing. Like even if I'm an intern, I would probably end up in an argument with the chef because sometimes you just know that you're right and you can't just like sit quiet. So I would just go in the deep freeze and I would just stand and I would just like take a 5 minute breath and I would just go back to the kitchen. But the pressure is the best. I love that pressure. I
What's
don't
the
like to work in a calm environment.
Right? Did you get to be at IHM at all, or has it all been online for you?
I studied there for 3 years. This is my fourth
Okay,
last year. So
right.
we just had to intern. So we don't really have a lot of classes now. But for
Mhm.
3 years, I was physically there studying.
Okay, so so you did get quite lucky because considering everyone's doing everything online now. So what
Yeah.
was that experience like? Talk a little bit about it.
So my college is not like everyone else's college. Like I didn't really have a college life. My college was like an army school. It's a very good college, but it was really strict. Like there's a nine o'clock curfew. You have to be in the class, 90% attendance. You can't miss a class. And the thing is the curriculum. It's a UK curriculum. My degree is a UK course. It's not
Okay,
the way Indians learn.
okay.
It's a lot more strict. Like you can't
Hmm.
miss out classes, you can't give excuses. It's very strict. But
Okay.
then I got to learn. I studied a lot of financing, a lot of accounts, a lot of innovation. We got to travel a lot, so it was a good experience.
And how does one get into IHM?
So there's this online form that you have to fill, and then there's a personality test. So once you get through those two, you have like a personal interview with all the chefs and the faculty, which is quite like a daunting interview because there are like 12 chefs and
Oh
head of
wow.
Taj who come and they sit. There's a huge board that sits and they're like you're just a single person who's sitting there, and they ask you a lot of intimidating questions.
Such as?
So they ask you about like why do you want to be in this career? Why do you want to do this? You know this is stuff. Like they it's like they almost try to scare you,
Hmm.
but then they ask you, they really want to know why you want to be in this profession because it's really tough. So it's just basically like a 15-20 minute interview, and they ask you some food questions. If you get through that, that means you're fine.
Well, let me ask you a similar question. Granted that you're very passionate about food, there are a lot of people who are very passionate about various things. For example, I'm very passionate about singing. I started learning Hindustani vocal when I was 6 years old, but I haven't turned it into a profession. You could just as well continue to be at home relatively comfortably and do a home catering or out of home business. Why do you want to become a chef and ostensibly have your own place? Why?
As far as I get to be creative in the kitchen, I'm happy because I've grown up watching these shows and I've seen all these Michelin stars doing such 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 it's out of this world, the stuff that they do. And it's every time I even read an autobiography, I just feel like if I work harder, I can be there, like I can do it. Like I just have a lot of faith, so it's pretty inspiring.
And is it your ultimate goal to sort of have your own restaurant or cafe?
A restaurant, yes, somewhere one. I mean, I haven't like decided when, but one day I would wanna. But before that, I want to like work everywhere. I want to travel a lot. I want to travel in most of the Michelin restaurant. Like I want to work in every Michelin restaurant and work with one of the best chefs in the world. And that's when I know that okay, I'm good enough to start a restaurant. Is when I'll probably start a restaurant.
Are you very hard on yourself? Do you judge yourself very harshly?
I'm not really hard on myself, but I'm genuinely a hard worker. I know that, but I'm not really hard on myself. Even sometimes when I mess up, I think I have like that 1 hour period when I'm like, okay, I messed up. Okay, so I just know in my head that I can't do this again. So I mean, I'm pretty okay. Like I'm never really hard on myself.
Okay.
I
What
manage.
advice would you? Sorry. What advice would you have for any youngster who is not just necessarily a keen cook, but has any kind of passion and wants to follow it? What advice would you have for that person?
I think once you start working, is you actually when you physically are in the kitchen and you know how the environment is when you need to like stay focused. Like you cannot be distracted at all. Like you just can't be distracted. Like if you want to do it so bad, no matter what, you can't be distracted. There are going to be a lot of chefs who are going to like put you down and they're going to be like, you can't do this and you can't be in this profession. But I think as long as you know what you want to do, and as long as you're like mentally like strong to cope up with that, I don't think anything can like stop you. Because honestly, in the kitchen, all the chefs, like everyone's very different. Everyone has different personalities, and everyone, like it's a very tough environment, and people are just very, like it's very raw environment. So like whatever comes to their head, they just say it. So people, a lot of my friends, they are really hard on themselves, and they're like, okay, this happened today in the kitchen, and I don't think I can do it anymore. But that's when I know, okay, I have to prove this person wrong. Like you just have to have it in you.
Fair enough.
Like
Okay.
you can't give up. Like
Okay.
that's my thing in head. Like you can't ever give up.
Can't ever give up. All
Because
right.
if you
Fair enough.
do, then you can't really get what you want.
Okay. All right. Nama, lastly, any advice? What have you been doing to stay active, engaged during the lockdown yourself? How have you kept yourself busy? Nama, can you hear me?
I have a dog. So like extra time. I read a lot. I like to. Yes, I can. I can.
Yeah.
Spending time with the family. I read a lot. I like to watch a lot of documentaries on Netflix. I like a lot of history, so I like to read up on a lot, and I paint and I sketch as well. So that's how I've been spending time at home apart from cooking. So
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, it's been wonderful chatting with you, Namha. I absolutely love your food. I can't wait for tomorrow to have more of it.
yeah.
Uh, in the meantime, keep at it. All the very best to you and in all
Thank
your
you.
future endeavors. And thank you for being here and making the time.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.